done.
Said that I did.
I stopped letting that shit bother me already.
3, 2, 1. Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Couch Coaching. I'm Vincent. This is Jimmy. Today we're going to be covering the second quarter. Keep saying half. Second quarter of the Pittsburgh Steelers 2013 season. Well, the first quarter did not go well for the Pittsburgh Steelers as they were 0-4.
Could you say that any slower?
0-4.
Thank you.
I've been watching football a long time, and I tell you, it's been. I cannot recall the Pittsburgh Steelers ever being 0-4.
I think it was 1980s. I think.
Wow. So
I wasn't even born yet. I will put it like that.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna say this about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Any other organization, the wheels be falling off. You know, they'd be asking for the coach's head. This guy needs to get fired. We need this. We need that.
They are doing that.
Well, I'm gonna say this.
They are doing
They
that.
may be doing that on the outside, but I'm talking about the organization as a whole.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I'm talking about on the outside. We are doing that.
And
we are calling in the radio station and putting up billboards. Haley needs to go.
Yeah, if you haven't figured out by now,
Oh,
those of you that have watched the show a couple times, you know, Jimmy is a diehard Pittsburgh Steelers fan. So this is killing him. Literally.
Not anymore. I stopped caring a long time ago now. I've realized my anger management problem is kicking in.
Okay, so the first quarter season, you know, the Pittsburgh Steelers lost to the Tennessee Titans, and I thought they would win, you know, pretty easily going against Tennessee.
I did too.
But Tennessee is a better team than I gave them credit for, and
I'll be the first one to admit that.
Yeah, kudos to Mike Munchak and what they're doing up there.
I guess $100 billion really goes a long way because that's how much they spent on free agency.
And it's showing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean they won that first game 16-9 against the Steelers, and really going away. And what that game is to me personally is when the Steelers lost the most important player on the team.
Yeah, but luckily enough, and I'm not, and you're absolutely right. We lost Pouncey in that game. That's not the only game we lost in. We also lost Foot.
Yeah.
Who was our middle linebacker, and then we, if I'm not mistaken, we also lost Steven Howling in that game as well. So we lost 3 players in that game into the season injuries.
Right.
Now, the problem with that game is, of course, we lost Pouncey. But the deal was that we went off and got Velasco.
Right.
Who was on the Titans roster.
Yeah. Wasn't on practice roster or something like that?
No, actually, he wasn't on, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think he was on anybody's roster, but he was on the Tennessee Titans roster last season.
Right, that's correct.
So we got a decent center out of it, and he's played really well. I mean, he's done a lot better than what a lot of people thought he would do. So of course he's not he's not Pouncey or what have you, but he's still a good serviceable. You know, luckily we got a serviceable center because without having that center, that could cause a lot of issues.
Right, exactly.
So luckily we don't have a center issue. Instead, we've got a line issue and a head coach on offensive coordinator issue. So that's our issue.
So what? Tell me, Jimmy, how do you really feel about Haley?
I really can't tell you how I really feel about Haley.
This is a family show.
This is trying to make it a family show here. So I'm not going to stoop down to that level. But I can tell you this much: if y'all listen to any of the shows going forward, I will be asking for Dot Haley's resignation. This is actually unacceptable in any case scenario that you can think of. You've got a Hall of Fame quarterback in Ben who will eventually be go to the Hall of Fame.
Right, I agree with that.
This guy isn't himself. He can't throw the ball. His offensive line can't block. You bought Haley in because you didn't want Ben to take the hits. He's taking just as many hits as he did last season.
Right.
And the season before that. He's probably on record right now to have one of the worst sack seasons in the career. I honestly do, because they're not completing third downs. They're not completing passes. The run game is finally... I actually do want to say I actually saw some light when I saw the Minnesota game.
When Bell came back, right?
Bell came back. Bell is obviously a decent running game on him. he didn't look like he was held back from his Liz Frank fracture
Right.
or sprain or what have you. So running game should come back, but with that offensive coordinator and what they're trying to do on offense and all that, I'm not saying it.
I'm gonna say this. I'm not a Steelers fan. Again, I like football, and I do watch from afar. They lost to Tennessee, and again, I thought that Tennessee would beat them. Cincinnati, beat them. Here's the thing: the only game that they really just got destroyed in was against Chicago.
Right.
They lost to Chicago 40-23. And the offense is actually coming around. I'm not a Haley fan. I didn't like him when he was with in Kansas City. I think what I dislike about him the most is the way he comes off. He comes off a little arrogant. And this is he seems like he's one of those guys. Well, this is the way we're gonna do it, and that's because I said this is the way we're gonna do it. He seems like he's one of those guys. I think a lot of me personally now. I think a lot of his success is directly linked to the fact that he had Kurt Warner as his quarterback.
Yeah.
In Arizona, because he didn't have that same kind of success didn't follow him to Kansas City, which is 4-0 right now with the exact same roster that he had there when he was in Kansas City. Again, sometimes messages get stale. I think this guy can rub you the wrong way, but the offense came around. They just didn't have enough, against Minnesota in London.
Right.
So, we're gonna cover their second half of the second quarter of the season, and I believe the first quarter they have a bye, right? The first game.
Yeah, they have a bye week.
So they have a bye week this weekend. We're filming the tape. We're taping the show this weekend. So they have the bye. So their next opponent, it'd be.
Yeah, they'll start out with the Jets.
But yeah, Jimmy's gonna tell us what their stats are compared to the rest of the league.
Oh God. All right. So of course, offensive stats are they're 18th overall total yards per game with 341. They're ranked 8th in passing, which is 283.
Which isn't bad.
It's not bad, but you're playing catch up.
That's why exactly. So we got to put that part in. That caveat in.
They're 29th in rushing, 58 yards.
And that's 29 out of 32 NFL teams.
I really am curious to see who the 32 team is.
Well, we know who the worst one is.
It has to be Jacksonville.
It's got to be Jacksonville. Now I don't know.
Who did we beat that had a less than a 58 rushing deal?
Well, it was Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And I'm just this is on top of my head. I know Jacksonville is one of them. I bet you Green Bay is another one. And then who else?
Could it be the St. Louis?
Possibly St. Louis. I bet you St. Louis.
That's gotta say something.
Right.
Goodness gracious. Anyway,
so see, it's not that bad.
Back to what I was saying. We're also ranked 26 in points per game with 17. This is a killer. 35% third down efficiency. 35. And then, of course, defense, we're ranked 11th yards allowed with 321.
All right.
And again, a lot of that is big plays, but again, 35% third down efficiency. That means your defense is out there a lot.
Right.
And that's how it was on all those games. Chicago, with Tennessee, with Cincinnati, and with
Minnesota.
Right.
Your defense can't be out there, and again, the Minnesota game. I think when you score 27 points in this league, you should win. So I kind of put that one on the defense because the defense gave up two big chunk plays. Really, it was three of them. One of them didn't result in a touchdown, but it gave Minnesota good field position. I think it ended up turning into a field goal. But you can't look. Adrian Peters is gonna.
And still had an opportunity to win the game. But Ben fumbled the ball because the offensive line can't block.
Right. So they had an opportunity to win that game. So I think that again, I think the offense is coming around. But the first opponent that we playing after their bye.
Let me ask you this real quick.
Sorry, go ahead.
The offense is coming around. Are they coming around a little too late?
No, I don't think so because look, here's the thing. We talked about this, and again, I know I'm mixing shows here. We kind of talked about this with the Cowboys in their segment, and the thing about it is that if you look at it, Pittsburgh is 0-4, and
Browns are 3-2.
And you know the Browns are going to come back. They're going to fall back. You know the Browns are going to fall back. Kudos to them being 3-2 because I'd have thought that it had been flipped.
Right, and that's another super surprise story. Who'd have thought the third string quarterback would have been the reason why they're 3-2? Because now he's hurt. He's out for the season.
After getting rid of Trent Richardson, I'm like, what are you doing?
Right. So they get rid of Trent Richardson, and then of course I'm not a Cleveland fan, but this is actually a surprise deal for me this season. Get rid of your third pick.
Bring in Wes McGahee.
Bring in McGahee, and then move up after your first string quarterback gets hurt. Move up your third string quarterback to first string. He ends up going on a winning streak, and then ends up getting hurt. So of course, we do believe that of course Cleveland Browns will drop back down.
Right.
So the deal is Baltimore's 2-2 and Cincinnati's 2-2. Which we've lost to Cincinnati already once. Right.
But again, Pittsburgh is only 2 games out of first place.
Right.
That's it. So their 0-4 isn't as disparaging as
Tampa Bay's
0-4 because New Orleans is 4-0. So they have opportunity to come back. And again, they've only played one of their divisional opponents. And they lost to Cincinnati that game that they played them in.
10-20.
Yeah, 10-20. So they have opportunity to make up all that ground. Because again, and nothing against Cleveland, but I feel like they'll come back to the rest of the pack.
Yeah, they'll fall back down there.
Right. So they'll be playing the New York Jets after their bye week. And look, they'll beat the Jets. Okay, look, they got 2 weeks to prepare for the Jets after losing this game, and Mike Tomlin was not happy. And what I like about Mike Tomlin is he don't have to say much.
No,
the way that they operate, he don't have to say much. He was not happy.
And I think the message was loud and clear because a lot of people who don't know what the press conference was saying, but basically he said people's jobs are on the line. And I don't think he was talking about his job, and I don't think he was talking about Todd Haley's job. I think he meant people's job as in like players' jobs are on the line now because it would not be a surprise to me. They just got a guy from Arizona. I forget his name.
Yeah, lineman, right. Right.
They just got him to come over to compete with Mike Adams, which, in my honest opinion, I don't think it's Mike Adams. It's the problem as a tackle. I think it's Gilbert. But that's just me. But people's jobs are on the line now. It's no longer the status quo is no longer the status quo.
Right.
And that's what Mike Tomlin preaches about. The status quo is the status quo. Well, the status quo is no longer. Normally, you never see them go and make a trade. I haven't seen it done in a long time.
Not at this junction in the season.
They went out and made a trade to bring in somebody. Normally, when it's a problem, they get it from the practice squad and bring them up because that's how they do it. They deal with in-house problems first.
Right.
No, they said, screw that. They're going to go get somebody. And they went off and got somebody. And that just is unheard of in the Mike Tomlin era. And so, for that to be done, some things are about to change.
Right.
So, yeah, I think they'll come out swinging against the Jets.
So you're thinking they're going to win? Look, they got 2 weeks to prepare for the Jets. And I just don't think Geno Smith is going to have any clue what's going on. And this isn't a knock against Geno Smith. He's still a rookie, though. And I think
Dick LeBeau loves rookies.
Right. And I think that they'll have all. I mean, he'll throw a kitchen sink at Geno Smith. And I think the offense again. Le'Veon Bell will have another week to be ready. Levon Levy, how do you say his name? But Bell
should have 2 weeks because of course he rested up after
the That's what I'm saying. So
he'll be good. And of course, he's probably not, doing a whole lot of strenuous running.
Right.
But again, Mike Tomlin's not happy. And so one guy can't change it. It's got to be the whole team's mindset. So like I said, I think they'll come out swinging against the Jets.
Right. So I think they'll beat the Jets. We both agree on that. But then the following week, they'll be playing the Baltimore Ravens, a divisional opponent at home.
And this is where I start getting a little deal because I had them going at least 4-0 at the beginning of the season.
Uh-huh.
And I think a lot of that was because I really thought they had a shot. Now I'm kind of going back a little bit after seeing what they did and how they've played so far. And I really am thinking that Baltimore win this game.
Jimmy, the funny part about it is and I know your heart is telling you we're going to win the game.
Right.
But the reality is you're thinking that they won't be able to. I'm actually thinking the other side. And the reason I said that is because, again, after that loss to Minnesota, man, so they got to be thinking, look, guys, even though we're 0-4, we can still win this thing. So if you're gonna do it, it starts right there.
Yeah, you got to run the table. After the Jets, and like Thomas says, after the Jets, you got to stack up wins. You beat the Jets, you got to stack up wins.
Yeah.
So you got to beat the Jets, and you got to turn around and beat a divisional rival
in Baltimore. Baltimore in Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh, you have to go out and prove to your fan base that we mean business. When I said we could,
jobs on the line,
we're going to do this and we're going to do that. Because I got news for you, Pittsburgh people are not happy.
Right.
I don't even live in Pittsburgh. I listen to the iHeartRadio app all the time, 9:50 a.m. out there in Pittsburgh, and people are not happy.
Right.
And so, yeah. So
I feel like they'll win that game. You still holding on to Baltimore?
Hard to say that I want them to win, but I am thinking that I really am thinking that Baltimore, because it is a rival game, will they always bring, both teams always bring something. It always comes down to one play.
Right.
And I just think that Baltimore end up pulling that play out.
Okay. So then after that, the final game in the quarter against the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Oakland Raiders in Oakland.
This is an interesting game. Very interesting game.
Yeah.
Because we played them last year and we lost. We could have won that game, but we lost.
It was pretty too. I recorded it.
I wasn't happy that day either.
I'm an Oakland Raider fan.
Oakland Raider fan.
Yes.
As you can see the room, I'm actually getting a little.
He's getting a little nauseous, about to throw up.
So, yeah, but we actually decided this year we were going to make a little wager on this one.
Yep.
So, depending on who wins out of this game, one or the other person, if the Raiders win, of course it'll be me. If the Steelers win, of course it'll be him. We have to wear something of the other team's colors in the next quarter
for
that next segment for the whole segment. And
so he'll be wearing something silver.
He'll be wearing something yellow. That's the way it's going to happen. We're not going to lose that game. There's just no way we're going to lose that game. We better not lose that game.
Okay, well,
I don't have anything silver.
Well, so and here's the thing. This show is about objectivity. I'm a big Raider fan, but just like he swallowed the bullet and decided that swallowed the pill and decided that he was going to pick Baltimore in that matchup. Look, from what they've shown me so far, and I'm talking about my Raiders specifically, Terrell Pryor is great. I don't know why it took them this long.
I agree with you.
I do not know why they took it this long.
If y'all go back and look at the tape, the first segment of the Raiders, go back and look at it. I know we're talking Steelers football right now, but go look at the Raiders segment from the very first tape on this one. And I think even last year we said it.
Yes, we said the end of last year.
Go back and look. You heard it here first. Before anywhere else, you heard it here first. We told them to put in Terrell Pryor. We said it. You put him in, see what you got. The guy looks good.
Right.
It's not his fault that they hadn't won.
Right.
It's really not. I mean, they lost to the Redskins.
They lost to the Redskins, but he wasn't playing. Flynn was playing. The Denver game, okay, well, I'm sorry. We'll talk about that on that segment.
True.
Okay, so I feel like that Pittsburgh will win this game, even though I think it's still going to be close. It may come down to another Sebastian Janikowski field goal.
You had to bring that up, didn't you?
But I don't plan. I'm gonna say this. I'm picking Pittsburgh, but I don't plan on wearing anything yellow.
I'm gonna say it like this. I hope that guy gets tendonitis in his toe. All right, that's what I hope. So I got him going 2-1 after the bye.
Yeah, I actually have him going 3-0. Yeah, after the bye.
Good luck with that, because I had him going 4-0 and I was totally wrong. You know what? I hope they do go 3-0.
And look, and the thing about it is that that 0-4, because we talked about the Cowboys in their segment, but that 0-4 for these Pittsburgh Steelers isn't that disparaging, because the only team you still have a shot, because the only team that quote unquote handled their business is a team that's not even used to being up there. And I'm gonna say this, and I know we're not talking about the Browns, but I got to give kudos to them and their general manager, Mike Lombardi, their coach His name escaped me right now. But their whole
Shaziski or
I think
something
it's
like
Shazam.
something like that. We're gonna call him Shazam.
Yeah,
The match that he put on that team.
Those guys are out there playing, because a lot of teams could have went here. What are y'all doing? Y'all giving up our third pick in the first round in Trent Richardson, but they've gone out there and they've played some ball.
Yeah, and their defense has been the ones really doing it until Hoyer stepped up, and Hoyer stepped up, and I really enjoyed watching them. It's a bad situation that Hoyer got hurt the way he did, and I wish him the speediest recovery that he could possibly get and get back out there on the field, because the Cleveland Browns really hadn't had a whole lot of things to be excited about.
Right, exactly.
And I could really feel that team really being excited about what they had in Hoyer.
Exactly.
And it was that feel-good story, because the third string QB ends up coming up after your starter gets hurt and ends up making passes that your starter can't make.
Right.
So the only reason why Wheaton is even starter anymore is because your quarterback got hurt. Because I can guarantee you right now, Wheaton could be 100% healthy, 110% healthy.
Right.
If Hoyer was there, Hoyer was going to be the starter.
And see, and like you're saying, it felt like a feel-good story. It could still be a feel-good story, because we might be saying to himself, okay, now I have the opportunity to get this job back. Because he played, it's like this, he played well enough for them to win. And I think if Wheaton can stop turning over the ball, then maybe they'll have a real legitimate shot. But again, I still think that this is Cleveland.
I think Cleveland's
going to fall back, and I think Pittsburgh honestly has an opportunity to get back into the division and win the division, because I only think one team is coming out.
Yeah, that's only going to be one.
Originally, I thought it would be two.
Yeah, but
I think it's going to be one team. Everybody was
playing.
I think it's going to be one team that's going to be the division champion. Okay, guys, thanks again for joining us here on Couch Coaching. If you liked anything that you had that we talked about, or have any comments, I'm just flubbing this all up. Have any comments? Leave it at the bottom of the page, and I'm gonna let you say it, because I'm just jacking this whole thing up.
I appreciate it. If you want to have us to talk about any other football teams or any other segments, just leave that at the bottom of the page as well.
Right.
Hit us up on Facebook at Couch Coaching 12. Have a good one.
Peace.